Our next have a seat, please. For those of you who know Edyl Reznik, you know what an essential part of our community she is, has been, okay, what an inspiration she is to all of us. For those of you who don't know her, this is a treat, and she's able as an educator in many different areas, multiply talented woman, and it's a pleasure after the gap for a few years, I think, pleasure to have her with us.
At the Marcus in the Taiba, with the Mentor, I want to dedicate this class in memory of Tanya's Lakuna Porta, So I feel a little at loss because like everything I thought to say was somewhat incorporated into this one. Amazing, absolutely. And okay, so we're going to move a little bit slower and talk about more specific items in this class. And anybody who has questions, I'm happy to say afterwards. So we're going to speak about, well, Judy said I'm speaking about health and happiness, so I guess that's what I'm talking about. But so we're going to add a word in front of that, okay? Guilt, health, and happiness. There's a lot of misconceptions that we have, and being that we're all from the Western world, many misconceptions that we have in our type of community is different than the misconceptions that somebody has in a different community. People who are exposed to Anglo culture is exposed to a certain amount of information that will affect and color the way they see themselves as a Jewish woman. So when we speak about guilt in the greater Anglo world, Jewish guilt, Jewish mother's guilt, it all comes from these movies that are, excuse me to say, I didn't see them, but I know about them. Maybe Dustin Hoffman, maybe some others, very famous people who derided the concept of being Jewish in the greater secular world. Now, whether we were always religious or, newly religious, it doesn't matter. Those concepts seep into the Anglo concept of what conscience means. So the Jewish concept of guilt is not, I'm a nothing and I feel bad about everything I do. And how many times did I do that? I'm such a bad person. It's really not the Jewish concept. The Jewish concept of guilt is conscience. And many people in the world don't have conscience. And so when somebody says a guilty conscience, talking about, somebody has conscience. Because guilt is not meant to bring you down and put you in the dirt, make you, mud. We have a conscience because we have something to give to the world, and we have morals and values. And those morals and values are what make us feel our conscience. Okay, so what is that part of us that's conscious? We have our body. I have to get up in the morning, I have to drink, I have to eat, I have to health, blah, blah, blah. We have our nefesh, making us do the things that we need to do throughout the day in order for survival and to do things that we want to do. And then we have our neshama. So the truth is that when somebody feels guilty, it's really not the body. And it's really not the nefesh. It's probably the only time that we're listening to our neshama. The only time when we feel our conscience is usually when we feel guilty. But it doesn't have to be that way. our conscience can lead us in positivity and in health, and know that you're doing the right thing. And that's your conscience. But if we're constantly saying, well, if I don't do the right thing to do, I'm a bad person, or this or that, but if I do the right thing to do, I'm a good person. So maybe we can shift that into not these huge extremes of this guilty conscience, super good conscience. No, we have our neshama. We can be in tune to listening to her. So when we come to Yom Kippur, who is it that's standing in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and dominating? Is it our guf? Is it our nefesh? Is it our neshama? So if we come and we're exhausted, and we don't fast well, and we didn't sleep well, and all different types of difficulties, so it's going to affect how our nefesh and our neshama is going to. So Yom Kippur is an extreme example of how health and happiness is going to sometimes come smack against each other. We have a few days to prepare. We need to prepare also our conscience, also our guf, also our nefesh. It's not enough to come to Yom Kippur and say, I'm here, my guilty conscience is here in front of you, I'm going to clean it out, and then after Yom Kippur, I'm finished, and I'm going to start again. And what if again you go for that chocolate bar right after you? And that's the bane to your personal guilty conscience. And let's say you need the chocolate bar after you. For one person, that chocolate bar is absolutely what she needs after a fast. And for another person, it's, oh no, there I go again. So let's try to focus on what the Jewish concept is of health and happiness and balance, and what we need to do with our conscience within it. So, Shlomo Melech, the Rambam, Shulchan Aruch, Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, it's written all over. You can go look, read it yourself. There's translations of everything. The connection between the body and the soul, the mind-body connection, which is today the big issue that's, modern psychology, medicine, world of trauma. Everybody's trying to put back together Humpty Dumpty, mind-body connection. This has been our way of living for thousands of years. So if we can reconnect our mind, body, soul connection, as we should as Jewish women, so we'll be head and shoulders above where much of the world is today, where much of the world is lost in what's important about the body, what's important about the soul. So it's an interesting twist. Wait, right. There's 4 basic aspects to our physical health, and they correlate to many different things. I'm not going to go into all the details. The information that's too much to say in an hour. We have food, we have sleep, water, and physical. Food, water, sleep, and physical. These 4 elements basically make up what we would consider optimal health, physical health. But the Rambam says something else. This is not just physical health. Shlomo Melech says something else. It's not just about physical health. Okay, so everywhere you go, every sefer that you will look at, again and again, those physical elements of health are here for every person to use so that his neshama can grow and produce and become and be uplifted. And without those 4 elements of health, you're fighting a difficult battle. those four elements can be integrated, they can be imbalanced, they can be addictive, they can be all kinds of things. But once we get the picture correctly, they are in a cycle, and they affect each other, and they affect us constantly, then we will be on a faster track to connect our neshama with our body and our soul, and have that mind-body connection a lot more stabilized. So I don't mean to make anybody feel guilty about how much exercise they do and about how much they drink. We're just going to talk about the elements and how they really, really work best. So if you look at halacha, a person wakes up in the morning. Before a person goes to daven, there's no machlokes. What can everybody drink before daven? Water. No machlokes. Not just no machlokes. Obvious. A person wakes up in the morning, they drink water. They don't just drink water, they wash with water. Okay? Water is our first basic. Before a person walks to shul, why walk? There you go. Schar halicha. The further a person walks to the synagogue, on any given day, not on Shabbos and Yom Kippur, not on Yom Kippur, the further he walks, the more schar he has. What's that? Why does he have to walk further to daven? Okay, after he finishes davening, he has to eat before third of the day passes. Rambam says, pas shachris, before a third of the day. So whatever a third of the day means, usually it's somewhere between 9:30 and 11:30, depending on how the day is. What I love about Israeli school systems, they call it arufat eser, which is really all about eating before the third of the day has passed. And actually, the Rambam says there that if a person hasn't eaten pas shachris, hasn't eaten there's different interpretations, but we're talking about grains. If a person hasn't eaten grains within and we see when we speak about following Hashem's ways over and over again. The example that's used is walking. Lalech b'dracha. We hop onto the bus because we're gonna have to slip packages home, so we can still walk, but we don't have to grab packages. So why should we slip packages home? You could go shopping twice, take less packages and carry them, but who's gonna do that? And our cars and our car services, and it's wonderful. we have an easy life. But the concept of walking means exerting energy, warming up our system, warming up our entire digestive tract. And the Rambam says, by the sweat of your brow, by the sweat of your brow shall you break his bread, means that a person has to warm themselves up before they eat in order to digest properly, for the food to go through easily, so that we don't end up lethargic after we eat, so that we don't eat too much, because if we eat too much, then we can't move properly. So warming up your body actually prevents you from eating too much, because it it brings out your, it says in the Shulchan Aruch, the juices of the stomach, and of course it says there, you can look it up. I'm sure you have a Kitzur Shulchan Aruch that's translated, available somewhere, and it says very clearly that you must chew your food because of the saliva starts to break down the food. All these things that, you know, in the last 150 years, the medical community has finally studied, and today, many of these things have been proven in medical studies. But we have spoken about these things and walked in these ways and done these things for many, many thousands of years. And it's a part of the survival of the Jewish peoples. Now, before any of this, if somebody is going to wake up in the morning and walk to shul, drink a cup of water, it doesn't even need coffee. But let's say today we have the psak, we can drink coffee, and we can even have sugar in it. Okay, so we have the psak. But lechatchila, from the, no discussions, no questions asked. Everybody can have as much water as they want before they go to daven, and they can walk, and then they can go home, and they can eat. It all starts with their sleep, because if the person can't wake up in the morning and didn't sleep enough and can't pull himself out of bed, where's he going to walk to shul? No, of course he'll take his car, or of course he won't even get up, or he won't get up on time. So we have a relationship between these four elements: sleeping, eating, drinking, and physical activity. We make kiddush and we put drinks on the table. There's no discussion in halacha whether or not you can drink every possible drink after kiddush, because eating and drinking are not considered an appropriate way of serving Hashem. Eating together with drinking nonstop. So what happens is that people don't drink enough. We don't drink enough. Why don't we drink enough? We'll speak about it in a second. People don't drink enough. So when they take that first bite of challah, have you ever had yeshiva bacham at your Shabbos table? We used to have a lot. And that's it. They take one bite of challah, and the drinks, they're attacking the drinks because they didn't drink enough during the day, maybe. And now all of a sudden they're thirsty because they just had some challah and they can't get it down properly, so they need to drink. So the Rambam says very clearly, the drinking should not occur. Cups of drinking should not occur during a meal. Sips are okay, but cups is not appropriate. We should be drinking between meals. So here we start our day. We didn't eat yet. We drink as much as we want. We come home. We obviously can drink some more. We make kiddush. We can drink anything that we want on the table. There's no machlokes about even making a bracha. You don't have to make a bracha. You can have coffee and tea and milk. If you're having a milchik meal, you can have milk and coffee and tea and everything on your table. If you make kiddush, you could might say all of these drinks. You don't make a separate shahakol. You can drink as much as you want before you wash your mitzvah. What kind of halacha is that? Why do we have such a halacha? So we're constantly, if we take a look at all of the ways that we walk in these ways, if we look at the halachas that we actually don't even know, most of us, even when we follow them, that we're actually walking in these ways. So much of halacha has to do with our basic physical needs. Most of your brachas have to do with your basic physical needs. If you drink enough and you eliminate properly, so you don't waste time. If you eat properly and proper amounts, so you don't lose koach. If you drink enough, then you sleep well at night, because at night the 8 hours, which the Rambam says is 8 hours. What happens to us at night? The process of sleep is a very complex process, and today people fall into bed to fall asleep. They fall into bed. Between screen time and electric lights, we don't even know when we're tired. So the Rambam writes there, 8 hours in the dark. Why should he stay there in the dark? When did we ever have such a problem before? When we didn't know when it was dark. So for thousands of years, after a few hours of darkness, people went to sleep. Do you know why? Not because they didn't have a candle, they did. Melatonin, which is the main hormone that the brain produces in order to put us to sleep, is produced only in the dark. So people run to go buy melatonin, but their electric lights are still on. Or they take melatonin and they're sitting on their phone or doing computer work till 2 o'clock in the morning. You ever notice? You turn off your computer at 2 o'clock and within 5 minutes, you're like, oh, how did I not feel that I was so tired? Not possible. You have all of those lights shining into your brain. You cannot start melatonin production. Rambam, 1,000 years ago, 8 hours in the dark. He didn't think it up. It's Torah Shabbat Peh. This is how we sleep. So I'm just going to say, for those of you who have little children or for yourselves, choose a time to go to sleep where you might get 8 hours in the dark. And that would not be probably 2 o'clock in the morning. And lower your lights. Turn off your screens. Allow your normal, natural body to take over. This is the holistic Jewish way of our neshama being able to survive. If we get enough sleep and we eat properly, we'll talk about that in a second, and we drink properly and we have physical activity proper, we will have a healthier, what's that called? Foundation for our neshama to go on and do what she needs to do. If we are in a constant fight with our body, because we're constantly not aware of what we need to do in order to help ourselves have a peaceful body, a body that's at peace with itself, then the neshama has to go into that place of waking us up. And then we have guilt. I didn't sleep well enough, but therefore I don't have koyach, and I can't go now to do that because I can't do this. Oh, I don't exercise enough, so I weigh too much, so I didn't have to, I can't really go there to do this. Oh, I don't look good, I don't want to go there. So we have a lot of different mixed up ways of our neshama responding to something that's really, we could have so easily taken care of. So let's talk about this cycle and where our neshama's conscience really belongs. Taking care of our physical needs means that we make more brachas. We say shahachol, we say hamleitzi, we wash, we bench. We go to sleep on time. You know that we have a mitzvah to go to sleep. There's a mitzvah to go to sleep. You make a bracha on sleep. You're not allowed to speak after the bracha because it's a hefset. You have to fall asleep and wake up in order to talk to somebody. In the morning, at the end of all of our brachas, where we thank Hashem for all that we can do and everything, the last bracha is an after bracha on our sleep. You spend 1/3, 8 hours, 1/3 of every single day in sleep. That means you spend 1/3 of your life sleeping. How could that be? What did Hashem do for us? Like, why shouldn't we just be doing mitzvahs and mitzvahs and mitzvahs and mitzvahs? But no, I don't know any car that lasts till 100 years old. Nor houses don't survive without cracks and foundation problems, till 100 years usually. But we can live for a very long time if we take care of the constant massage that it requires. That means 8 hours every day of sleep. Does it mean it has to be 8 hours? Well, lo and behold, medical studies have 7 to 8 hours is optimal. 6 hours is too little. 9 hours is too much, according to medical studies. And these are the medical studies that have come out of Harvard and Columbia. We're not talking about any freak groups or anything. So let's talk about sleep for a second so we can all understand a little bit more about our sleep so that we will understand that a neshama without proper sleep is a sick neshama. And that sick neshama starts making all kinds of concepts of what we should be guilty about that has nothing to do with what you need to be doing every single day, which is beautiful relationships, doing good things for the world, doing chesed, helping others, eating properly, doing all the things that you want. You can't do it without proper sleep. So first of all, just for the things that interest women the most, without proper sleep, the hormones that make us stop eating when we're full, and the hormones that make us know when we're hungry or thirsty are produced during sleep. We don't sleep enough. We don't know what we want to eat. We don't know what we want to drink. We can't make proper choices. So that's one. Let's talk about more basic. There's 5 stages of sleep. They occur every hour and a half. There's a cycle to them. We do 4 or 5 cycles in a night. Okay, part of that is during REM, which is probably the most famous cycle. When we speak about some of these things, it's not. So the dishes, you didn't wash them before? Oh. Let's be nice. Give it to them. There's a limit. A limit to our physical self. We need to put into perspective. And sometimes we repeat things. That should be our music. Is the day that was supposed to know our air. When I came this tomorrow, we don't know this anymore. But really, if I take things to the city, the Jewish community on the stove. It's enough that we smell of nothing so that it was not much wrong. He was the king, and then they got perspective. And it passed. So, but everybody came out of that. That is that child's problem. Walker coming out, testing all of this stuff, and it wasn't enough. So Rosh Hashanah, we don't fall asleep because one of the things we don't eat. What are hobbies? We have to build, we have to run, we have to do dance, we have to sing, we have to be happy. Regardless, within the Yom Kippur, we see different aspects of yes, that's so Ramban speaks about the 10, and this is the chart of no end, and I help you understand the soul. I help you means that the soul's concern so there's many addictions today, and it's many complications here. The world is much more addicted to not things, many different problems. And much of it comes from the ilui, the imbalance that we have in our combination of being mind-body connection is not something that we spend all our time in our body to keep our body well. It's real. No, it's in order to get up and run. That's speed. Run over here. Get off the morning level mind. In order to do the well check. How do we do that? We don't have enough to do that. So just another class. plenty of, enzymes in our stomach. We're going to be eating and we'll feel full very quickly. Because we won't be eating because we're thirsty. So, backtrack. A very interesting twist about thirst is that people all the time today say, I'm not thirsty. What can I say? I can't drink, I'm not thirsty. I can't drink water, I'm not thirsty. This is a very interesting combination factor, is that if I do this with my girls in seminary, I tell them all to get up and jump, or dance, or walk around the room. Guaranteed after that, 10 minutes later, everybody's thirsty. Some of the girls have water bottles, they're not thirsty. You just have to walk from here home, and all of a sudden you think, why didn't I take my water bottle? Physical activity and thirst are interrelated. Because we are so physically inactive today, we don't feel thirst naturally. So a person who feels that they're not thirsty, that's already a sign that you're not moving enough. And how much should we move? How much should we exercise? How much is it? Okay, so these are all discussions for health opinions, but the general rule is 2 hours of physical activity in our homes, washing the floor, doing laundry, going shopping, regular physical activity, plus a half an hour of heart pumping activity. What's heart pumping activity? For every person, it's going to be something else. If somebody walks every morning for an hour, it's not going to be heart pumping for her to walk quickly for an hour. So she should do something else. She should dance for a half an hour with her kids, turn on music when they come home fromHeder. Your husband comes home, turn on music. We're dancing for 15 minutes before we eat. Rambam says we should warm up our tummy. Let's warm up our tummy. Let's dance. Great for Shalom Bayis. Make sure you have water on the table before you start. You could do it with your roommate. You could do it with your friends. You could do it with your kids. Does it hurt us to dance for 15 minutes a day? Does it hurt us to sleep, like the Rambam says? Does it hurt us to walk twice to the supermarket? I don't have time. What don't we have time for? We don't have time for more screen time. We don't have time for more yelling at our families. You will have less need for screen time, less anger. Your body needs to calm down for your soul to know what's the right thing to do. Your conscience sits with your neshama, waiting for your body to be the home that Hashem gave you. We're coming up to Yom Kippur. People get exhausted. What am I going to say? What am I going to eat? How am I going to eat? How am I going to start drinking? Today, start drinking. Walk around a little bit. Get your body moving so that you can drink more. More critical than stuffing and eating is how much you drink before a fast. Okay? If you don't feel thirsty, walk around the block. So when we're talking about the neshama being healthy, coming to Yom Kippur, and doing tshuva for the things that we really should be doing tshuva for, saying al chet on the chocolate bar could be part of it, but maybe that's not where we as a holy nation need to be. Maybe we need to be saying al chet for much higher things. Maybe our connection with Hashem has not been so good. Maybe our connection with our parents hasn't been so good. Relationships is part and parcel of the Torah world. Open up the Chumash. Every single page is another relationship. The first relationship is man and God. The second relationship is man and his life. The third relationship is parenting. Next relationship is brothers. Every single page of the Torah talks about relationships, whether it's with your parents or with your neighbor or in business. How can we possibly be working on better relationships in the world and building up the world so that everybody is healthy and good and wants to do good and wants to be close to God? How can we possibly do our mission as the Jewish people if we're preoccupied with our chocolate bars? The Jewish people is not a people that's doing the mind-body connection in order to meditate. Our body is here to be our home to our beautiful neshama that has so much work to do and has so much to offer to the world and is a role model for every other culture. Those things become overwhelming and they take over your life and they start being the reason for your life. To be a healthy woman. Yes, I have muscles. Look at this. So our reason for taking care of our bodies is not our reason for taking care of our bodies is that our soul should be allowed to do good. We need to be released by our bodies. In order for our neshama to be conscious, and for our conscience to work on greater levels. And that's why we become what we do is what makes all the difference. Each one of us individually it says, I'm for all of us. And if we are so guilt-free over just what we eat, drink, and it's all about yourself. There are
just those four relationships and those four elements.
Okay. I have another minute? Okay. Food, nutrition, water, physical activity, and sleep. If you make them in a circle, we have such a graph, we have it at home that we built. All of these can have an arrow, one to the other, and you will see how each one will affect the other. If you don't sleep enough, the cells during the night will not produce enough and repair enough the body. If you don't exercise enough, if you don't move enough, you will not feel thirst and you will eat more than what your body can take. The Rambam says very clearly, if the body eats too much food, it can't burn it, it brings him down, it creates illness. He says there, take those four elements, make arrows between them, and start making your own correlations. When I don't sleep enough, what happens? Also, take the products of these four elements.
I heard that your issue with something psychological, and I can't find, I don't know where to find that. Do you know where I can?
Where the organs are correlated to different parts of the neshama, and it's really Chinese medicine, Korean medicine. So there's a lot of discussion. So it's also
It is.
yeah, but I don't know.
Yes, since nobody said it, will she saves the water to drink. Just amazing how they go along. Really incredibly ultra hydration.
We're gonna have a break for a few minutes.